controversy.
You believe and you have been told.
Raila as a flag bearer, he'll get the entire Nyanza. He will get a substantial votes from the coast. He will get some votes from the Ma community. Sale will have his 400 votes, 400,000. Alonso will have maybe 800. What if Ruto wins with 51 plus?
Drama.
You must have something you are going to tell your people. Raila is the front runner. What should Mudavadi go to tell the people of Western? Why is he supporting Raila? To be what? To be a minister? What will Kalonzo tell the Kambani? Why is he supporting Raila? So that he can cook for him when he's in State House, or to do what? Or he'll be carrying his briefcase when he travels, or he'll be representing him in AU or UN matters.
And the plain hard truth.
There is no any rally that has been addressed, a major rally in this country without Raila. Ruto has not even matched to a half of what Raila could have brought, to Uhuru Park. Ask Ruto to come to Uhuru Park and see, unless he's fairing people, he'll not manage to hold a rally. Ruto cannot hold a demonstration in this town. You cannot get to a country at ransom if you can't close Nairobi. Now, how many people from Eldoret can come to because don't tell me Kikuyus will waste their time, demonstrating in this town. They'll support you, they'll cheer you, but don't depend on them to demonstrate for you. They'll not be there. So who will you bring to this town to demonstrate for you? Baba can go meet Zambian president. Baba can go meet Ramaphosa. Baba can go meet Tanzanian president. You can name almost 20 African countries that they are on speed dial of Baba. Who can Mudavadi call out of Nairobi? Yeah, who can? Okay, Ruto has managed to cross to Uganda at least one. Or apart from that one, who else? You don't just leave a country in the hands of wannabes. Once Raila forms the next government, the reasons will Mudavadi and Kalonzo come? He'll send them to political oblivion. And that's where now some of us will emerge.
This is the Jacque Maribe Show.
Welcome to the program. Thanks so much for tuning in. And today we're talking to Amisi, the Member of Parliament for Saboti. Mheshimiwa, thank you so much for joining us on the program today.
Thank you very much.
Kabisa, karibu sana. We have been looking for you, and I want to take you straight to the debate that has been in the country, talked about by everyone, and of course, that is the BBI debate.
Yeah.
But I want you to demystify for Kenyans what the BBI debate is really about. It seems that it has been made to be a fight between the who's who in the country. But for the ordinary Kenyan, what is this BBI debate about?
It's good you started by the word demystify. That means there is a lot of propaganda out there, and the Kenyans wants to know the truth. I think, one, there were good stuff in BBI. The idea of having a parliamentary system of governance away from the presidential was a good idea, accepted by all political formations. Members of our opposite camp, they're also welcoming the idea, because this will see members of the cabinet ministers being drawn from amongst members of the National Assembly. This was an idea that was acceptable across board. The other issue of devolution being enhanced by more funds going there. The other issue of setting up youth commissions. Actually, it was my suggestion. I presented before the BBI so that we have, in fact, my suggestion was to have a full-fledged ministry for youth. So we got youth commission, which was fine. That is a starting point. There were a number of issues surrounding the youth agenda to solve the youth population bulge, but that I think were very progressive, and they were captured in the BBI. The proponents of BBI, unfortunately, they left it to the political mandarins, and you've seen now the repercussions. The propaganda out there, the anti-BBI force was, so pronounced, more than the support, because we left it for political, as a political fodder for people who took advantage of it. But nevertheless, I believe with the new government led by Raila, in the first 100 days of the next government, they'll be able to implement BBI through referendum, then we achieve what we wanted to achieve. And they correct the areas. Like when you say you want to delimitate 70 constituencies, I think it was unconstitutional. The gray areas that brought trouble, that led to BBI being challenged in court, I think they should correct, because even if you go ahead with the way it will still be challenged later on. So they correct, and then we implement within the first 100 days of the next regime.
Yes. All right. At the center of the 2010 constitutional review were key issues like peace, cohesion, and prosperity, issues that also appear to be at the center of the BBI. But are we saying now that the process has stalled, we cannot be able to achieve this because then, this discussion or process of the BBI has been stalled by the Court of Appeal?
Yeah, there are issues about peace and the cohesion and the national ethos, how we behave as a nation. You can't correct through legislation. You can't correct the behavior of a nation and the culture of a nation through legislation. These are things that were supposed to come in policy form. Some, yes, legislative articles to Parliament, and Parliament can still pass. The areas that touches on the governance structure, where now the Prime Minister is being introduced, the members of the cabinet coming from the National Assembly, the structure of the county where they have the deputy being a woman, women being represented in Parliament through nomination. All this needs referendum. So basically, there are part of BBI that can be, can pass through by simple legislation in Parliament. Others just a policy by the ministries involved. And then we look at areas that needs referendum. We can't have referendum now before the 2022 election because we don't have the time. Referendum process needs at least a year before the next election. We are past that. So it is untenable to have referendum now. We just think about referendum after the next election.
Let's talk about cost implications as well that were also a headache for Kenyans. Is it really necessary to have a referendum anytime soon, even be it before, after the 2022 general elections? Let's talk costs, Mheshimiwa.
They say if you fear education is expensive, then try ignorance. So we chose democracy. Democracy is expensive. If we don't do democracy, then we try anarchy or any other form of governance like other countries that have gone down. So as a young democracy, I think we have a lot of changes to make to our structure. US, we glorify US as one of the best democracies we borrow or live from. But US has gone through a lot of changes, amendments. We had the 13 amendments, 14, 25th, where that vice president can take over when the president is incapacitated. The cabinet agrees that the vice president can vote, then the vice president takes over. These are not things that were there at the initial stages of the US Constitution. There are things that have come up. We have up to 27 amendments. We are just talking about the first amendment after the promulgation of 2010 Constitution, really. And we've seen that most of this Constitution was heavily borrowed from the US Constitution, heavily. And remember, this US scenario is totally different from our society as a nation. So we must also align it. Yes, we've seen for the last 10 years how it has served us. So at least 10 years is enough for us to gauge and see where has it not served us, where has it not fit in our cultural diversity, our ethnic diversity. We are ethnically heterogeneous. We are not a homogeneous society like other jurisdiction. So being a ethnically heterogeneous society, we have many interests of ethnic backgrounds in matters of governance. How do you factor in your constitution? Because this has been our cause of pandemonium, our cause of chaos, election violence, mayhem all the time. We cannot be stable after every election. So it must be solved. And if it is a constitution to solve it, so be it. So I think the purpose of amendments, you may not like BBI. You may have used it as a political tool, but do we need an amendment anywhere in that article? Yes, we do. We keep on crying. Look at what is happening in Nairobi. We have a citizen not elected as a governor of Nairobi. Where is it in the constitution? Nairobi County is just like any other 47 counties, with the same structure, with the governance election process that you're supposed to apply to all the country. So how do we have a citizen occupying the space of a governor of a city, capital city of Nairobi, and is not elected? Why? Because there was a lacuna in the constitution, and we just moved around to fill it, to make the city running. We have a national NMS. Where is it? Where is it captured in the constitution? But we needed to fix something anyway. So these are the areas that needs to be, reinforced. They need to be, taken through with a tooth comb, so that the constitution serves the people of Kenya as much as it was borrowed elsewhere. But now it must be aligned to the situation and the realities of our country, and the realities of various groupings, various ethnic regions, and our diversity as a nation. Yes.
All right. I want us to stay on that note and matters handshake in the interest of unity and peace in this country. But as far as we're in an election cycle now, the previous election cycles, of course, your camp, which you belong to, and the government of the day, you went on a full-out, no holds barred kind of war. And now we have the handshake. You want to go back to the electorate and say that, look, there are no permanent friends and enemies in politics, and now we're walking the same talk. Some Kenyans might feel you're hoodwinking them, Mheshimiwa.
It's not hoodwinking. Kenyan politics is, I think we found it this way. The young generation, we are trying to, some of us, we are hoping that we'll have a chance to correct. But it's so unfortunate that we found a system of tribal groupings, tribal hegemony, where the biggest tribe, must determine who becomes a president. One tribe merges with another one to form a government at the exclusion of other tribes. And we've made it. It was started by the political dinosaurs of yesteryears. And they are still here. Moi told us Kanu will rule us for more than 100 years. And we thought it's a joke. We thought it is Kanu as a party. But it was the remnants of Kanu who are here, who are the political players. All remnants of political, Kanu regime. So unless now you start bringing in some new blood, you can't say that the way somebody is saying Fagia water. You can't treat a nation as if there is one regime going entirely. You must have a succession plan. Yes, there is new blood coming in, but they must learn also from the previous people who have been there. Because it's not that all the old leaders are all bad. No, there are people like Raila who have very progressive ideas. They have fought for the nation. You can see their history. So I believe that what we fought for in NASA, me particularly, you saw I was one of the NASA MPs barely 2 weeks after being sworn in as a new member of parliament for Saboti. I was tear gas. I could have died if it was not for journalists that are normally trained to, save while they are taking their photos. I don't know whether our local journalists are trained the way. I'm very sure, I don't want to undermine them, but I'm very sure if it was a local journalist, I could be dead. Because this guy was able to open my door while at the same time he's taking a video. So he identified a victim struggling to survive. He came to save me. I got out of the car unconsciously. And I was saved. Otherwise, there would be a by-election just 2 weeks to my being sworn in. So it was a terrible time. Kenyans were agitating for various things, reforms. They wanted to see Raila the president. NASA was a movement that shook the country. What I think is that and what most people don't understand is that Raila thought that to save this nation, he needs to make peace with Uhuru Kenyatta. Otherwise, we were on the street, we were burning Uhuru's portraits, we wanted to collect our own revenue, our taxes, we were not going to pay KRA. So basically, we could have had a parallel system of collection, and we could have collected a lot of money, because if you close Mombasa, you close Kisumu, you close Nairobi, you are going to run a heavy government. It will be trouble. So other nations or other leaders have actually, with such a support of people and an opportunity, any other leader could have said, yeah, let's go. We can't, if I can't be the president, let me be the president of these people that are ready to give me tax to run their government. But he loves the nation so much and say, let me go and sleep with the enemy. Let me make peace. And that's why we are peaceful. So I don't know why will people castigate Raila for making a handshake with the president, because the opposite could be chaos. This country could have collapsed. Many nations have gone down. In fact, for you to actually arrive at the handshake, people have gone to war. Nations have gone to war just to culminate into a handshake. Eventually, the aftermath of any war or pandemonium is peace and justice. So they chose the easier route to peace and justice without going to war, because that could be a full-blown war. And nations are interested. There are outside players. Kenya can easily become a decoy or, a playing ground for war. Other nations have become also proxies to international, geopolitics. Kenya could have become a proxy, just like other nations have fallen prey to being proxies of international interest. And it could have collapsed as a nation. There is no any person who loves a stable friend, they are so happy when they see Kenyan. I see people saying write to the UN. People are writing to the US Congress. US will work with any regime. Now, for example, we have the Taliban. They have taken over Afghanistan. The US will work with the Taliban. Russians will work with the Taliban. Chinese will work with the Taliban. It doesn't matter how the government was taken over. They'll work with the current government, whether it's a thief, whether it's a criminal, as long as there is a form of government. There is some structure. They'll work with anybody. Nobody is interested with the internal affairs. Internal affairs must be solved by you as a people. And you've seen, when Raila met Uhuru, there is no international mediator. There was no Kofi Annan. When Kofi and the rest came, may his soul rest in peace, you saw there was still some, heavy people that are still having problems. The country is not so much stable. The coalition governments was full of squabbles. It is only these two, internally, who knows the problem of Kenya. A person from outside does not know why, for example, people don't want another Kikuyu president. They will not understand why, for example, we so much want Raila to be the president. They ask you, Kwani, don't we have other Kenyans who can be president? They don't understand. It is only us who understand why are we fighting. So I believe the problems of Kenya cannot be solved by any outside forces, because they don't know. They'll only be coming to further their own interests. So I want to categorically say that Raila took the right step. The people who are supporting Raila, including us, believe him, and that's why up to now, I'm an ODM MP in a very anti-ODM region. But I've never left the party. I'm still stable in ODM. I'm still a member of ODM up to now. In a region where I'm the only ODM in a whole county. I'm the only ODM in the entire region of North Rift. Trans Nzoia, Bungoma, West Pokot. I'm the only member of parliament from ODM party, and I've never left to go to Tangatanga or Ford, Kenya. Because I believe in the man, I believe in him. I am not a person who, one day you sing this, one day you are saying this. I'm a principal leader, and when I believe in his ideas, in ideologies, I will only stop supporting Raila when he changes his course, he changes the things that I believe in him. Yeah.
Speaking as a loyalist, as you say, of the ODM party, let's switch gears to what's been happening in NASA in as far as coalitions are concerned. Now we're seeing the One Kenya Alliance and, the principles from NASA having moved to OKA. What is the position of ODM as at today?
Yeah, but you see those OKA principles, we know they are our leaders, Salia Mudavadi, Wetangula, Gideon Moi. I think these are people who have made politics as a business. They have not made the politics out of principle. They have just made the politics as a business. If you read their history, you can't see anything they have stood for. Apart from once they run, sometimes they don't run, sometimes they run to spoil. I think the people of Western will get a savior. They will look for a principled leader who can go all the way and fight for the sake of his people. People of a region don't follow a leader blindly. When you see the members of the Taliban, I want to use that as a very weird example. The members of the Taliban force, if their leader will, start, making agreements with the Afghanistan government, those people will not believe in that leader. The guy stood his ground and he has taken his troops and they have taken over. People believe in a stable, focused, principled leader. That's where you get followers. People don't just follow people who do not know whether tomorrow atakuwa na huyu, tomorrow atakuwa na huyu. So let me ask them one question. They were supporting Raila Odinga. For what reasons were they supporting for Raila Odinga? Because now, Raila now is being told by the president whom he was fighting that now because my term is ending, I want to support you. So we were fighting this president together. Now the president has agreed to support our principal whom we had fronted. So what is the problem with that? In any case, that is the person you had fronted to take over against Uhuru. So Uhuru has said, now I'm supporting him. I'm putting my weight, my resources to this person. So why are you running away then? So why were you supporting him? To fail. It doesn't make sense. You are supporting him so that he can win. Now he has a better chance of winning. He is telling you guys, now come together, we win. You are not going to win so that all of you are presidents. No. You are going to win so that one candidate whom you had chosen agreed, Raila Odinga, to be the president, to serve for whatever term you had agreed. Now the chance is here. Assuming maybe since 2013 we were all politicking, maybe our election is after 10 years. So we've been politicking all along and you've fronted this guy for the next 10 years. He needs to be our kingpin. Now the time has reached and the president is going home. The coast is clear. Yeah? The Englishman says the coast is clear. There's no danger. That time we were fighting when there are so much dangers along the coastal line. Now the coast is clear. The waters are calm. So then why are you retreating? To do what? Now you ask themselves, what numbers do they have? Realistically, politics is a game of numbers. Mudavadi his support base is basically Vihiga and Kakamega. Busia is entirely Raila's support. Bungoma, a mixture of for the Kenya and other interested parties. Trans Nzoia, the same. So what are you bringing to the table? Why do you want to be a president? If you look at Ruto comes with almost 27 counties intact. Raila comes with close to almost 20 counties. You want to come with 1.5 a county. So where? It's a game of numbers. It's not a game of who is taller, who is fatter, or who is come from what region. It's a game of numbers. So this guy has 20 counties. He's telling you, bring your 1 and 1.5 so that we can compete with this guy who has 27 counties. Tell me if this is not absurdity. If not absurd, then it is people are making money. People are just in politics to make money.
But the divorce, as it were, in NASA, is it a question of sharing of the political parties' funds? Is it a question of a breach in the memorandum of understanding? What prompted the divorce in NASA?
The divorce in NASA is a political gimmick. It's a scapegoat. Really? Yes, it's a scapegoat because people looked for a way out. As bad as it seems to be, maybe they tell us Raila is bad. We don't know what this bad thing has done to them. I don't know whether he has slept with their wives or took their girlfriends, or I don't know whether he didn't buy them a beer. We don't know. We just hear that this man is not good. This man is bad. But we don't get the substance of where he went wrong. I wish we were told so that some of us don't follow this bad person. But if it is about sharing resources, so why are you together in NASA so that you can share political parties' money? Was that the mission? Because I thought the mission was to get the presidency. If that was the mission, then so be it. We can't help. But I believe there is procedures, there are laws that govern sharing of political money. There is an act. In fact, this political money was never there in the first place. Political money just came in the 2010 Constitution, whereby about 0.03 monies from the consolidated fund goes to the political parties. Something that was never there. Political parties used to survive on their own under their sponsors and the welfare, the goodwill of the party supporters. So there's just a small crumbs falling from treasury. You want to fight over it. I think it's just a height of mediocrity I've never seen. And that's why I'm not very sure what really our leaders want. Because if you want to focus on being president, you'll say, I don't even want that money. My issue is not even about political parties. My issue is to be the president. And people will follow you. But if you say, this guy I'm not supporting because he denied me money, really? That's why lawyers should support you to get political money or to be a president. Yeah.
All right. So you're saying categorically that ODM is not going to budge. Either they come back home or they stay where they are, and
they will not come. They are going to vie. I can tell you for sure. They are going to vie. The new the BBI provided a good platform where every regions could feel presence at the national level, because there'll be a prime minister, there'll be deputies, there'll be vice president. So at least you'll tell the people of Western, you see, Mudavadi is there because he wants to be a prime minister. But now, if you have Raila is there, Raila is the front runner. We wake up in the morning, you sleep in the evening, you'll find he's the front runner. So what should Mudavadi go to tell the people of Western? Why is he supporting Raila? To be what? To be a minister? What will Kalonzo tell the Ukambani? Why is he supporting Raila? So that he can cook for him when he's in State House, or to do what? Or he'll be carrying his briefcase when he travels, or he'll be representing him in AU or UN matters. You must have something you are going to tell your people. And I think that's where now the rubber has met the road. They have nothing to go and tell their people. The only thing you can tell to your people is either a vice president or a vice. Raila as a flag bearer, he'll get the entire Nyanza. He will get a substantial votes from the coast. He will get substantial votes from the Ma community. He will get patches of votes. Raila has a support all over. I'm sure there are Kukuyus, even if they say he's a pork, they love that pork. He gets support all over. So these people will have their own base. Msala will have his 400 votes, 400,000. Kalonzo will have maybe 800, because remember there are governors who are coming up. Mutua is there. You can't say a governor will cost a few people to convince in his county. Charity Ngilu is there. He can't miss to convince. They're not with Kalonzo. Oparanya on this side, he will also dig into Mudavadi's share. Hata bibi yake wote sinikura. Yeah, so you can't miss people to bring votes out of their basket. So they'll come with 400, they come with 800 at the negotiation table post-election. Now, it's a good idea, but now the tricky side is that what if Ruto wins with 51 plus? Because people want to associate with the winner. And once there is an opinion poll showing that Ruto has 40, Raila has 39, people will now coalesce around either Raila or Ruto. So what if one of them manages to get 51 plus? Then your calculations will not matter. Once somebody gets to the presidency, will not matter anymore. And if it's about members of parliament in the parliament, you will not matter. It will simply work with those members of parliament from your party. Ruto has been working with ODM members of parliament without Raila. Ruto has been working with ANC MPs without Mudavadi. So once an MP has been elected on your party, he can still work with the government. He will not need this thing of removing an MP because he works with another party. It has proved unsuccessful. You can't implement it. So you are basically going to live in a political oblivion. You will send Western region into a political oblivion, as opposed to coming to support Raila and say, you will support me the next time, you serve for 5 years, give me this number of ministers. So that when we win, the people of Western will hold you that you promised us 5 ministers. Where are they? So we'll have a reason to backtrack. But now, once Raila forms the next government, the reasons will Mudavadi and Kalonzo come? He'll send them to political oblivion. And that's where now some of us will emerge.
Some of you will
yes.
From the
nature abhors vacuum. Yes,
absolutely. Caleb, we're in the season of coalitions, and as you're putting it, the president has thrown his weight behind his brother, as he calls him, Raila Odinga. Are we looking therefore at a coalition of Jubilee and ODM, as it were?
Yes, we are looking at a coalition. I want people to look at politics in terms of interests, not out of excitement. Because if it is about excitement, now Raila has excited our Kenyan populace for quite some time. He has been on the stage. There is no any rally that has been addressed, a major rally in this country without Raila. Ruto has not even matched a half of what Raila could have brought, to Uhuru Park. Ask Ruto to come to Uhuru Park and see, unless he's fairing people, he'll not manage to hold a rally. Ruto cannot hold a demonstration in this town. You cannot get to a country at ransom if you can't close Nairobi. Now, how many people from Eldoret can come to because don't tell me Kikuyus will waste their time, demonstrating in this town. They'll support you, they'll cheer you, but don't depend on them to demonstrate for you. They'll not be there. So who will you bring to this town to demonstrate for you? Because Raila has gone through that. He can step in Uhuru Park and say, tomorrow nobody is going to work. And people will obey. So if you look at all this scenario, you'll find that Uhuru is better off supporting a man like Baba. Because he knows this is a person with not just local support, what they call suicidal support. He also has international networks. You see, Baba can go meet Zambian president. Baba can go meet Ramaphosa. Baba can go meet Tanzanian president. You can name almost 20 African countries that they are on speed dial of Baba. Who can Mudavadi call out of Nairobi? Yeah, who can? Okay, Ruto has managed to cross to Uganda at least one. Apart from that one, who else? You don't just leave a country in the hands of wannabes. You leave a country to a person who can stand in the community of nations as a leader. Because remember, this is a family that has invested across board, not just here in Githunguri or in Nairobi. They have invested across Zambia, Congo, wherever. You will see now Kenya is trying to, is trying to steal the space of South Africa and Nigeria in the political hegemony of Africa. Is going to Congo. You've seen Equity. Equity is now going to Congo. Who does Equity CEO runs to if he has a trouble in Congo? He runs to Baba because Baba can phone the president of Congo. You've seen how Equity is now spreading wings all over Ethiopia. Safaricom is gone there. Who can Safaricom run to if it has a problem? He will call of Baba because Baba can phone AU. You know, that network helps you to even stabilize your business in the region. And that's now Kenya gets its political prowess in the Horn of Africa. But now, when people come up, they want to be president, you look at their status locally, regionally, internationally. It's not there. This is a man who has created stability, his networks for quite some time. They know him in and out. They know what this guy can do. They know what he cannot do. Now you can't just come there and say, I'm a nice guy. You can be a nice guy, but you don't know what you're hiding behind your niceness. There are people, of course, Ruto has shown his true colors. He has not hide anything. So people are feared. He's not a bad man. He's a good man. Maybe I appreciate his work, his charisma. I appreciate he comes from nowhere, like some of us. But we are talking about the president of a nation, not an MP or a governor. Even if you are from my tribe, you are talking about a nation first. So that's why Uhuru feels comfortable that this is a man that left with the powers of the state. He cannot misuse, he cannot destroy a nation, he cannot take a country to war. There are people, you give them power. The next minute you'll find them fighting because he has maybe done wrong business with another president. And you find a country going to war. He has seen, Baba is a person who loves this country so much. He has sacrificed. He has denied himself. During the Kibaki's time, he could have as well said, we have won, why are we negotiating? Let's go back to the ballot. But he has sacrificed before his ambitions for the sake of a nation. That's the person you leave a nation to. And you don't subject everything to democracy. You've seen how Chinese have done their democracy. They just come and agree. This is a potential leader. You don't subject everything to wananchi because wananchi get excited by so many things. They'll say Mizwetu, they say what, but is this the right person for them? They only regret later after he has taken over. That's why people are clamoring for Jubilee. Oh yes, Kumira and all that. So why are they regretting? Because you cannot subject everything to wananchi. They don't have the charisma to choose or to see what we other people can't see. They'll just get excited by the spur of the moment. Because if you ask yourself, when people were running around Jubilee singing Jubilee Ururut or Tano Tena, so what went wrong? Why are you now hating the person? It's because some electors come with wrong choices. Because they are easily gullible. They can be hoodwinked to supporting a person. You've seen Sonko, we had to remove him by fiat, not through ballot. Because, yes, he has come with almost 1 million votes, but is he the person to keep our capital city? No. So you bring in a person by popular a vote, then you try to look in the constitution how to remove it. Why can't you solve all these issues out there? Bring a person right from the word go. This is we are talking about the presidents. So who is going to use his resources? Who is going to convince the Kikuyus? He has not stepped there. He has been running the country for the last 4 years. He was busy running the country. His deputy was busy on the campaign trail. Uhuru will stand in Sigona or Limuru or wherever and say, my people, even if you hate me, but I don't hate your future. Please listen to me. I cannot leave you in the hands of this person. As a leader who is outgoing, I want history to judge me. And I want to tell you, my people, that we cannot go to this direction because it's going to destroy us in the next future. Kikuyus will make a Bautan. You watch this space. They will listen to Uhuru.
But what happens to
every region in this country has a kingpin. The moment that kingpin comes and gives a direction like this, they'll turn. Even if it's not a half or 70, it will not be that the entire community will go against their leader.
What happens to the loyalists then who would question if you have been taking them for a ride all along, if you come and change your stance just like that? And say that, listen, I campaigned with this person, I said we were good as a team, and now I'm telling you I will not leave you in the hands of this person. He's not
true.
good for you.
Yes, he will tell them, yes, I knew this guy is he shares a vision I had, but unfortunately I've given him an opportunity and he has destroyed me. He has destroyed our nation, and he will show them. He is the holder of intelligence. He will show them, look, that we have missed this because of this person. You can be good. People can date and find that this guy is not the person I hope he is going to be. They change. Then you tell people, no, please, my parents, I thought this guy is good for me, but down the line I've realized he's not the person to be. It's the same in politics. You come and say, I thought this guy is good, I thought I can live in power, but look, I have found he's sleeping all over, he's with everybody. So I don't want him anymore. It's good, you can change. So I believe Uhuru will stand somewhere on a podium and talk to Kikuyus. If he truly wants Baba to rule this country, Kikuyus, even half of them, will listen to Uhuru. Not all. The older generations that have been there for a while, the young generations may be excited by the wheelbarrow thing and the bottom-up shenanigans, but the business community, and you've seen there is no any single business person, any businessman what is sold from the Kikuyu community who has openly supported Ruto. But there are a number, quite so many, what they are sold. Talk about S.K. Mashara, talk about Peter Kenneth, talk about all the top Kikuyu people. Who is who in this country? They have openly supported Baba. That is a message they are putting across. Yeah.
All right. With the economy, Caleb, at the heart of this election and, of course, the electioneering period, what would a Raila-led government do to change the current situation that Kenyans are in, especially considering the debt burden that we're facing?
I wish now, next time I'll give you Raila's number, mobile
I
number.
have it.
Maybe you have the older one.
Or maybe there's a new one.
Yes, I give you the very latest.
I'll take it.
Yes, so that you invite him here. You ask him all these plans he has.
But you're a loyal ODM member, and of course you're
so I can only
speak.
I can only speak on what ODM as a party stands for. And what Raila himself wants to do for this nation is best explained by himself, nobody else. I'll be lying to say I know what is in Raila's head and what he wants to do for this country. But what I wish that he does for this country, one, is like, it's called a rebirth, reconnaissance. Even European nations, Americans, the nations that have flourished economically, you go through a rebirth as a nation. You don't just start there and start correcting things. Remember, there are cartels, there are everything. You don't just say you'll bypass all these things. You go through a rebirth. And he's in the best position to take this country to this country has never gone through a reconnaissance. There is no any country in the world that has made a leap in economic progress without a reconnaissance. Look at Singapore. Singapore identified the strengths. Kenya does not have oil. Kenya does not have natural resources. Kenya does not have gas. Kenya does not have petroleum. So how does it compete with Dubai? How does it compete with Saudi Arabia? How does it compete with the US with the technological advancement? How does it compete with China? How does it compete with South Africa with those natural resources? Nigeria with gold and all the natural resources. How do we compete? First, this person, Raila, will, if he gets to the presidency, he needs to look at what is the strength of a nation. We've been talking about dividing cake in any treasury until the treasury is dry. Now we are borrowing. But it's dry because we've never known how to produce and fill it. So the first thing he needs to know, what is the strength of a nation? So we don't have this. What do we have? One, the people. Kenyans people in itself are resources. Kenyans people are hardworking. Kenyans people are respected or national-wide, globally. Kenyans people are educated. You go to Dubai, you'll find that Kenyans, they'll rather employ a Kenya and not a Nigeria because of the accent. A Kenya speaks nice English, and Nigeria will start now pidgin English here and there. People are not understanding. You will find a Ugandan speaking with something funny. Europeans are not understanding. Kenya's English is perfect. So this is an educated society. An educated society that is idle, first of all. Then, turn them to the outside world. This is a society that can bring back remittance. If you look at Philippines gets almost 30% of GDP from diaspora remittance. They send their citizens out there. They have a program. Forget about these people who just run away to Saudi Arabia, they come back crying, they have been killed, gee what. They have a set program. People are trained. They identify doctors, the best doctors. They have a program within UN, with the UK, with the US. And those doctors bring back resources to the country. You start there. That is our strength. So you will find that we are now increasing our diaspora remittance from, say, 3 billion USD to about 30 billion USD. Already, treasury is being filled. That's the first thing. The second thing, what do we have? We look at our agriculture. This is entirely an agricultural area. Demarcate flower farms. This one is our number one priority. No touch. How do we prioritize in terms of public-private investments? Flower farms can bring us a lot of resources because they are needed. Agriculture. You will find in Dubai, in the Gulf countries, they are going to Zimbabwe to get onions, to get potatoes, these small things. We need to invest in our agriculture because the world is looking for agricultural produce. The world is looking for flowers. The world is looking for onions. We must eat food. Food is a basic human need. And Kenya is producing food. So we look for where these areas, there is nothing that cannot be produced. Adi avocado, macadamia, they have been produced here. Now we hear avocado that are needed in China. We hear there are guava, whatever, there are mangoes rotting in Machakos and in parts of Eastern. Why don't we find a well programmed marketing strategy for all this produce abroad with our national parastatus, this KCC, Kenya Meat Commission, these things that are collapsing, they be revamped so that now we can take our meat to Oman, we can take our meat to Bahrain where they are needed. They don't have. That is number two. Number three, we look at our research, science. Singapore managed to overcome economic downfall because they invested in research. They invested in education. Our education system now we need to invest in properly because this is our strength. We look at Kenya as a center for global attention. We look at our peaceful coexistence within. He looks at East Africa, that we are able to rekindle our position as the peace beacon of the Horn of Africa. So when somebody is talking about Africa, Kenya is there. What does that bring? It brings investors. So that there is no any investor who will go to a troubled nation or a troubled business environment. The first thing for an investor is a peace nation. That's where Singapore is beating most nations. Singapore, I don't think even anybody knows the president of Singapore. Nobody knows the president of Singapore. They don't know whether Singapore holds elections or not. We don't know because it just become a peace haven. Now people are taking their resources there. Monies are coming from all over. It becomes a global flow of income. The center for global flow of income. Money is coming. Whether it is from the Kenyans working abroad, whether from investors because of the peaceful coexistence of a nation. In the Horn of Africa, you look at the nation, East African community, Tanzania is stable, Uganda is stable, Somalia is stable, Ethiopia, Djibouti, and Kenya is the king, is a hegemon, is a hegemon in that region. Now we take the role of IGAD, we take the role of East Africa, we take the role of all these, organizations. We bring people to set companies locally. Our people cannot go abroad. They get employed here. We do not have capacities to start our own industries. We need people to come from elsewhere, to come set an industry here. They employ our young people. We have labor as our strength. That is where a Kenya's strength lies. We don't have mineral, but we have labor. China. Why did China surpass most European nations? Because they made use of their labor. Chinese were many. They were flocking all over. They say, come on, all the Siemens companies, Mercedes, come here. Set up your plant here. These dry areas, you drive along Mombasa Road to Mombasa. You see a lot of empty land. Then you wonder even why people, congested in Nairobi. And you are driving along, you can't see any single structure. Empty land. Bring companies, even Mercedes companies, Siemens, you give them land there, set them there. All these people around Cumberland, they'll get employed in that camp. Within no time, people are learning technology there. That's how Chinese started copying people, because companies are setting up in China. Why? Because of cheap labor. If you set the same company in Europe, you'll be paying a lot. But you set the company here, we have idle youths, let them get employed. In the meantime, we are doing a lot of research, science, investments. Our youth started now behaving like Chinese. That's how Chinese started copying the world all over. They copy. Now China are going to be the superpower out of copying people's technology, because you allow them a conducive environment, cheap labor, and a supportive government policies and government structure that is stable. Then third, how would you bring investors? Also work on the taxes. Don't have punitive tax measures. Reduce taxes to attract investors. A business person fears tax. Make tax regime conducive for businesses. There is no any nation that has taxed itself to prosperity. A nation that taxes its citizen so that you prosper is like standing in a bucket and trying to lift yourself up. Basically, you can't. So this habit of increasing every time that you hear finance minister reading budget, unasikia tax kwa mkate, tax kwa fuel, it sends investors away. So you reduce the taxes, make them conducive, bring the investors here, they'll give you the money you need. They'll pay that money you need. You don't need to tax your citizens. The investors will give you the money you need, and the people will get employed. You will have solved all the youth population bulge. You will not be running up and down with youth with wheelbarrows around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. With wheelbarrows around. Interesting. You should mention that. Yeah. Finally, Mheshimiwa, because you're a youthful MP, a youthful leader, is enough being done by leaders such as yourself to ensure that the tag that you have used, idle youth, stay away from, processes such as elections and campaigns where they used quote-unquote badly to spark unrest and demonstrations and what have you, and to just ensure that this chunk that forms the hugest part of our electorate this time round does things differently?
I don't think they will do anything different.
We are just status quo.
Yeah, we are status quo. It's good to be optimistic. but it's also good to be realistic. The realism of our nation is that youths are idle, youth have no jobs. Anything that comes their way, they pick. Any Tom, Dick, and Harry, pretending to be a leader will be elected. So the youths are there not by their wish, but by circumstances. That they're idle, they have no jobs, they have no coins. You tell them line up to town. They line up.
50.
They line up. Why? If I'm rich, I bet I'll not waste my time on a queue the whole day waiting for 50. It's basically because I really need that 50. That's why I'll wait for that 50. So it is because of the circumstances that have been there. And that's why I say, I have this view, whatever I've been illustrating, we don't want to just be having leadership, change of regime. We've never looked at the economy of the nation as a whole. Because if you don't look at the economy of a nation, then we'll have all these youth out there. Then they'll be used. Our politicians, you get in an idle use, will use them. Any person will use them. So don't blame them. Don't blame the politician either. You blame the economy. And I hope that if Raila takes over, he comes with a team. Because you can be a good leader with the people who do not know what you want to do. And still you fail. So he must come with a team that he knows they are ready to change this country. Because this country needs to be changed in terms of economic spectrum. What do we have? What is our potential? And how do with a blueprint? Not like the AU blueprint of 1963. You know, how do you have it in the year 1963? We want to be there. Will some of us be alive? You know, you can't have a blueprint of 100 years, surely. You must have a blueprint that is reasonable, 10 years, 15 years. Now, you look at, if you want to see how African leaders think, you look at the AU blueprint, it's 1963. Those people who even designed the blueprint will not be there to even see the succession of it. So we need to have a blueprint. And then we need to have an economic council, aside from politics. We don't need to subject everything to public participation. That you want to construct a rail line here, you must ask people. People will reject. They say we are staying here, we don't want. You want to establish an industry here at public participation, and you have to ask the chiefs and the locals, do we put an industry here? They will reject. You want to ask the local MP, he will go to what these people are saying, or else he'll be removed from office. So you need an economic council, aside from politics, whose work is just to develop the economy and the blueprint of this country. And that council must be reporting to the president, not to the parliament, to the president. The way NIS reports to the president alone, then the council should report to the president alone and say, this is the now maybe the parliament can be there as an oversight, just to say, what are the council blueprint? Can we see it? Can we interrogate? Aya, sawa, present to the president. That's why the president has the mandate of the people. So if we don't have that, we are just politicking, and using what is in the treasury, then we'll just be where we are. Because we are basically doing the same thing, the same way, and expecting different results, which will never come.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. Next steps for Caleb Amisi himself, 2022 ballot?
I'll present my candidature for MP, Saboti. I believe, and I've been told, that so far I've been the best leader the constituency has ever had.
You believe and you have been told?
Yes. I believe because I have seen what I've done. I've been told when I walk around that in every school I go, first thing I'm told, you are the first sitting member of parliament to be in this school. Second thing I'm told, you are the first MP to ever build a class in this school. And I've gone to more than 100 schools in my constituency, primary and secondary. That shows that for the last 40 years, leaders were doing absolutely nothing. They were tribal leaders. Just because your tribe, they are the majority, you have no problem. They'll still elect you. But me, I'm a different breed. I was not elected by my tribe. My tribe are minorities. My tribe were not even more than 100 people in that constituency. So I was elected by all other tribes, not looking at what language do I speak or what tribe do I come from. So I think I'm actually a good example of how this country can be united. Because if you look at the cosmopolitan nature of Saboti, a person coming from Saboti will tell you this is so cosmopolitan, and I'm the first Nanibukusu to be elected. Ever. To be elected ever since constituency was established. Ever. And I've got support across all tribes. And I've done the development. It's only that I do not have enough resources. An MP only can survive in terms of development on CDF. If I had resources like the county government has, I could have done marvelous things in Saboti. I could have done wonders. Because the new schools that have come up, and if you look at my social media, you'll see everything I post. The bridges I've built, the roads I've tried to strengthen, those that are at least within my purview. The roads that I've, planned. Yesterday I was with the Minister of Transport, Macharia, trying to look at the roads to be tarmacked in Saboti. The youth that I've empowered, the border sector, the youth groups. Last week I trained the youth to get loans so that they can get the youth enterprise money to establish their own business. Now they came and they'll get 100,000 to each group, money that I can't give them. The women groups have gone to embassies. We've had like 4 ambassadors coming to Saboti. Something that has never happened. The first time they've seen an ambassador in Saboti constituency. They have come to establish. Some have even helped me with showing machine to give to women groups. There are women groups that have benefited. And there's so many things in talent development. I've supported the musicians. The time for Corona, I supported them. You saw it. I've sponsored football. I've used 1.5 million last election. Something that has never been done by any MP. My own money. We don't have money for talent, but I use my money. 1.5 million cash prize, not even to add the cost of tournament. Of course, there are also the cost of tournament. But I gave 1.5 million cash prize to all those teams that participated so that they are empowered. They continue buying footballs and all that. Those are things that I've done out of my own way. So many things that I can spend the whole day here listing. So when I move around and people appreciate, those who hate you, trust me, even if you build them a gorofa, they'll still hate you. Don't bother with them. They'll still talk bad. Yeah, people will just say you for no good reason. Maybe because you are doing something that they never did. Maybe you are MP. They say you are MP at a young age. I'm only 35 years. People just hate you for that reason alone. So you just forget about them. Don't bother with them. You go with the progressive minds. So when you hear somebody abuse me, just know huyu hata nimulete US penye yako. He will never like me, will never do anything for me, will never vote for me. So unaachana na yeye. Right. We need such people also. Mm-hmm. Yes.
we need such people.
Yeah, we need such people around.
All right. And on that note, Heshimiwa, that ends our conversation on the show today. Of course, we'll be keeping you. We can spend the whole day here talking, but we will continue, of course, to engage with you. And thank you as well for joining us on the show. This has been the Jacque Maribe Show with Saboti legislator Caleb Amisi, who will be joining us again and again.
Yes.
And again.
Tomorrow.
The other one. Then we pick it up from there.
Yes.
All right.
You bring the noisemakers. They make noise. I come and correct.
You're not one of them?
No.
You don't make noise?
Do you think I'll be making noise here?
Today you're very, calm, reserved.
No, but this is how I am. Have you ever seen me making noise?
It's your nature.
This is my nature. I never throw stones around. Have you ever seen me in Kibera throwing stones? Like
Heshimiwa, thank you so much for speaking to us today.
Yes.
Thank you. Have a great week and God bless.
My name is Honorable Caleb Amisi, Member of Parliament, Saboti Constituency. I want to encourage Kenyans, young, women, the old, even toddlers who can access mutandao, all Kenyans across the board, from Loitoktok to Mombasa to Lamu to Malindi, to be watching this very progressive mtandao by Jacque Maribe. I want to urge Kenyans that it is time to embrace new ideas, times to embrace young leaders, whether in political circles, whether in media like Jacque Maribe, whether in sports, across. And we encourage the young upcoming voices of reason, voices that have new ideas to change the political stage, the business stage, the media, and all spheres of life. And I want to also ask the young, especially the young generation, that every generation has had its time. Every time there is always a generation and there is always something to fight for. Generations have risen and fought for something. It is also time for us as a generation to rise up and do what needs to be done, and do it now.
This is the Jacque Maribe Show.